Hey everyone, my name is Robin Solnenko and I'm your Access 365 database instructor. And this is a video from my Access Expert course. A little hidden gem that resides within your tables, and I bring it into this course, is called Event-Driven Data Access Macros. In this short video, I will show you how you can have these fields calculate on a certain field after a record gets entered or modified. This is all done at the table level, and it's been sitting on the tab system for decades. So don't forget to check out my entire Access Expert course on my site, and we will see you on the other side. Welcome back everyone to this next section where we talk about using data access macros. Now this is different than the following section after that about access macros. There's two kinds. Access macros or VBA. This data access macros is drop-down type of macros, and they're executed at the table level. And the first kind that we're going to look at is the event-driven, because the next topic after this is named data access macros. So these two are kind of the same. It's just how they're triggered, and these kind of clash a little bit with calculated columns. Because what we're about to do, you're going to say, well, geez, can't we do it in a calculated column? And the answer is yes. However, these data access macros are based on an event or their trigger. And we all know what events are in forms. We have them here in tables as well. So unlike a calculated column, where when it only executes when there's an update to the record, these data access macros can trigger on a multitude of events, like a cancel, a delete, an update. So that's where they have the extra power. So let's take a look at what we're going to do, and then we'll do it. If you open up Table Officer, you can see we have their salary here. And what we're going to do is we're going to create 3 new columns that will calculate their income tax and their pension and maybe unemployment insurance. Okay, so it'll be after or before an update. So we'll see what that means or what it looks like. But before we go and actually do them, let's create the 3 columns. So go into your design view of Table Officer, and I'm going to insert 3 fields here after salary. Just insert, whoops. Insert and insert. And the first one's going to be income tax, and it's going to be currency, and we'll do a CPP, which is their pension, and EI, which is employment insurance, currency. Okay, so just enter those 3 fields in here. You know, you don't have to enter them right after salary. I just like to have them there. You can put them at the end if you like. And when you go back to Data Sheet View, of course, save them, and you should have 3 blank columns here because nothing's been entered in. Okay? Now, in that table, so while we're in the table, you may have played around and noticed there's a Table Fields tab here, which is where we would have pointed this out in Course 1. This is where you can set some properties to each of these fields. But there's been another tab here sitting quietly called the Table tab. And look at the table ribbon here. And these are what we're referring to here as events. And this is what you do not have in a calculated column. So you have options like before change, before delete, after an insert, after update, after delete is when these events can trigger an action. Okay, so that is the difference here between calculated column, which just does a simple calculation based on a single event. You have the option here to choose different events. Okay, so what we need to do is select your salary column because it's going to be based on that. Okay, now the idea here is we need to check to make sure when they do type in a salary that it's not 0 like it is here for myself, because that's what we're looking for. If the salary is greater than 0, then go and calculate. Okay, do your action. If it's 0, then don't calculate, because you're going to have some problems here with calculating percentages on zero. So the question is what event? It's the before change event. So before you change it. Now the question is, when does Microsoft Access change the record? They change the record when somebody gets off the record. So if you're sitting on a record, I'm sitting in brown. When I hit the down arrow key, boom, that is when Microsoft Access committed those changes to Charlie Brown's row. So what we're saying here is before you do that, before you commit those changes, you're going to proceed and do these steps. Okay, so that is the key here. So click on your table ribbon. We're doing the before change. So click before change, and your screen's you're gonna get a whole new tab here. And again, most of it is drop down, but you still have to do some typing. And you can see here you have other actions over here. And this is what you don't have in a calculated column. Okay. So up here on the left side, we're doing an if statement. If, now we're going to type, if TBL officer in square brackets, officer dot square bracket salary. Now, first thing you notice is that, up till now we've been having you do exclamation marks, and that's what you need in VBA. Over here, they will take a decimal or dot between objects. So what we're saying is table officer dot salary, is that field greater than 0? If it is, what do you want to do? Well, you see here, there's add an action right here. The action is set field. What field? Okay, it's going to be TBL officers dot income tax. Okay. To what? You're going to set it to a calculation. So let's do some sort of calculation here. So in this value field, click in there, and we're going to say, okay, table officer dot salary times, which is an asterisk, 0.3. So what we're saying there is that the income tax field is going to be the salary times 30, so 0.3. So we're saying 30% of their salary goes to income tax. But we're not done. That's just the income tax. So now there's another plus sign, another add new action. So we're going to do another set field. And I'm basically, just to save some time, I'm going to copy some of this so I don't have to retype everything, paste it, and the second field is CPP. And what about that CPP? Well, it's going to be that same calculation from above, but it's only going to be 15%, so 0.15. And I'll do one more set field, and it's not going to be the CPP, it's going to be the EI, and the value is going to be same thing, same calculation, but times 10%, so 0.10. Okay, then you can click outside of that, and you'll see how it collapses. And just this blank thing always stays right there. But now you read this carefully. So if table officer salary is greater than 0, after or before you change, before you commit the changes, is it greater than 0? If it's 0, then it doesn't do this. It says, oh, no, I guess it's not above 0, so I'm not going to do anything. So it ignores this. But if it is above 0, so as long as you're making a salary, it'll go ahead and calculate 30% on income tax, 15% on CPP, and 10% on EI. Okay, so now you hit the close button up here on the top. This will close it, save your changes, and let's give this a try. So if I type in Charlie Brown salary of $132,300, as soon as I get off the record, but before the change, it does the calculation. Boom. Okay, 88,200, get off the record, boom. If I go down to myself where I'm 0, I'll type my 0 in again, get off the record, nothing happens because it was not above 0. Oops, not decimal there. I'll do another 200. See, so I can go to any record, retype in their salary, and as soon as I get off, it calculates income tax, CPP, and EI. Okay, so that is a data access macro applied on an event of the table. And how you got there was once you are in the table, you go to the table tab up here and select one of these events. What event will trigger this? And this was a very simple one, but you can see you can do a lot of more events or a lot more actions once an event is triggered versus a calculated column is just a simple calculation. Now this sets us up for the next topic because in the next topic, we are going to use those, but we're going to call them by a name. And that is going to help with updating different fields based on certain events. So that's all we have to say for this topic. We'll see you in the next topic where we now discuss named data access macros. See you on the other side.